So my first question is regarding the ChatGPT and the other models, because we were told here during the conversation that they have several problems, mistakes. So which ones are the most important ones, just to highlight them, and how can you compare this, and which one is good for which purposes?
Okay, I wouldn't say that it's the failure of the system. I would rather say that there is a certain attitude towards the systems which makes them function not in the desired way. So I would rather suggest to treat them as a tool, to read about them, to not to call them AI, but rather than a large language system, and go ahead and try what they are capable of. But never forget that these are just tools. They doesn't have any kind of a human intelligence. They do not understand what we are asking from them, and they do not understand the answer they are giving to it. It just sounds human, but it is not. My favorite thing is to prompt ChatGPT with a question, is ChatGPT a bullshit generator? And it's going to give an answer. Then prompt it with the question, is ChatGPT a bullshit generator? Please base the answers on scientific papers. And just let's compare the difference between the two responses it gives. And after that, think about that. If it's in such a simple question, it makes a big difference in the answer. Then what would happen if the prompt would be different every time? And I think people should pay a huge attention at what they ask from it and how they ask from it, and never forget that they are designed in a way that they are impersonating themselves, because that's what we're expecting from a chat program, that it uses the word I, you, it reinforces us, but this is not real. This is a deception which we love, and I think that's not the mistake of the tool, but the mistake of the humans who are using it, that they tend to put themselves into illusion rather than look at it as a tool. Don't pay attention to the impersonation. It's just a convenience for them, but never forget that they are not human. And after that, it's not going to be a fault of it, but rather a tool which can be used to many wonderful things. But in order to use it, we have to use our knowledge, our creativity, our experience in order to get the most out of it. This is not the fault of the system. There are some technical issues, of course, because this is just the first phase of these systems, and they are going to develop. It's going to be cheaper, it's going to be faster, it's going to be much more capable, but it's not thinking. It's not thinking at all. It just mimics lots of things. And I guess for the humans to understand the capabilities it has, it's really mind-boggling. So basically they were taught by feeding them the whole internet, everything, which is by a human it's not possible to read the whole internet. Our lifespan is not enough for that. So therefore we think that, oh my god, it knows everything because it can present it in a way that it looks normal, but it is not. It's just a huge library which can be searched in a pretty fast way, and it can give me responses like a human, and that's why we think it's some kind of a super intelligence, but it is not. It's just huge library which can give you answers, but still it's depending on what you ask from it. So everyone should put time into learning how to prompt, how to be critical, how to be creative, how to use it and what for, and don't spend time with it. It's so easy to get attached to it because it's fun, because it seems like a good conversation. They are reinforcing us, but it doesn't lead nowhere.
And And what do you think how these language models are going to develop in the future?
Oh, I'm not an expert in that, but basically, if someone is interested in that, then he should look for two papers. One is the Attention is All You Need by Google developers who made possible this kind of developments, and the other is the Google Titans architecture, which is going to be the new one, as they say, and try to understand what's in it, not in the deep level, but at least try to think about it, because that will shed some light on it, that it's really in the beginning phase of this evolution. But basically they try, and I think they will be able to get it working like the human memory, which is a wonderful thing, and we don't even know how it works precisely. But the Google Titans architecture is trying to build that upon it. And since they succeeded with the Attention is All You Need, and therefore LLMs could rise, that's the future. So it's really hard. Basically, no one is expert in AIs. At least no one who we can meet, who we can talk to. Those guys are working in such research labs, such companies, and they have such contracts that they can talk about it, I guess, that it's pretty hard to find a real AI expert, because it's scarcity. So try to be curious, but wait another 4 or 5 years and see what it is going to develop. The hype is just too big now, and it makes it hard to give any kind of a judgment. So treat it with precautions and with a critical attitude.
And from which age would you suggest to use such platforms?
About 18. It's not for kids. For small kids, I think it's a really dangerous tool to use, because for them the deception factor is much higher, and they can develop a feeling that I like him more than my teacher because he's much more nicer to me and knows more. But there are certain things you cannot learn from ChatGPT, but you can learn from a good teacher, and they wouldn't be able to judge. Even grown-up adults cannot judge it. So for kids, it's a huge danger, just as mobiles. And what happened with mobiles, that now we are starting to talk about the dangers of mobiles and the effect on the kids. It's going to be much more worse with ChatGPT tools like that. So these chat tools, they want to understand what it is, but for them it's going to be a fantasy land where they can be lost. So I would say 18, but I know it's hard to do, but please don't do it below 14. Please read about something about the development of the human mind in kids. There are papers about it, and make your own judgment. But I would suggest, I have 2 little kids and one bigger one. For the little ones, I will not give any kind of mobile phone. We as a family won't, and also they won't use this kind of tools no matter what happens until the age of 16, 18 at least. At least 16, maybe 18, but 16 for sure. No way. No matter who says what about the digital world and stuff like that, they will be able to learn that later. Nothing will happen if they don't touch a mobile phone. I think it's just harder for the parents to spend time with the kids, to be honest, rather than give them a tool which gets their attention and they are silent. Therefore, we might think that there is everything good with them. I recommend not to.
In the conversation, you also mentioned that so many e-commerce companies are suffering of the influence of the Temu and other big companies. What would you recommend to them?
Well, I think it's the best way to look at it that just as a small grocery cannot compete on prices with Aldi and Lidl and the big chains, because I mean that's life. That's how it is works, whether we like it or not. It's the same in online. Now that Temu and all the other companies are able to penetrate markets like Hungary, which is a small market, to be honest, for them it's nothing. But still they do it because now it's pretty easy and cheap to localize the content into Hungarian. So all the auto translators, DeepL, name it, they are pretty cheap. It's worth now to go ahead and collect that market as well. So it's not going to change. Building a brand is expensive, and groceries can live next to Aldi, just as you can sell burger next to McDonald's, but you won't be able to run a grocery next to Lidl. You just won't be able to. And in online it's pretty much the same. Temu is in China, but it's the same cost and time to get to Temu than to get to a small web shop, so they cannot use this location advantage. So for merchants, I guess going local is a feasible thing if they can, if it's possible. I know lots of do-it-yourself stores and electrician stores, and if you think about painting tools, everything which are used by handyman or by somebody at home who renovates the house, anything, they make a good living being local, giving advice. I need detergent, I have to drive there, I didn't have time. If anyone did a project at home, he knows that at least once you have to go to buy something because you forget to get that screw, this screw. They love the social fabric of this kind of local stores. That's a way. But if you just online and you sell the same thing, then it's not going to work anymore. So time is like that. It's hard to compete with such a strength. And yes, even big companies will suffer, especially in B2C, because of Temu and Chain and Allegro and all these big ones, because it's the same. You have to buy cheap and you have to sell with a certain margin. The bigger you are, the better prices you have. Temu is on the spot of the manufacturing of the goods. So of course they have the best purchase prices. All the companies who are big and used to sell, buying, manufacturing in China, getting in, they have a huge organization, they are paying the European salaries. It's economics. It's not going to work out.